What's going on, guys? Hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day wherever you are. So the topic for today is Summary Sunday. And if you don't know what Summary Sunday is, basically I take all the most important news items of the week, and on Sunday I'll wrap it up, right? And basically I try to do a 10 to 15 minute video depending on how much news there is. Just a brief summary, right? So this is perfect for people who, want to catch up on the news but don't really want to get into the nitty-gritty and don't really have so much time to go through the news for a few hours, right? So basically I do it for you. So if you enjoyed it, smash up the thumbs up button, hit subscribe, right? And you can get news every week, right, on Sunday, basically in 10 to 15 minutes. So this is episode 2. I'm going to make a playlist if you're interested in the other weeks, right? So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it, right? So what are the news items this week? And basically this week there's 5 news items, and basically number 1 is Jerome Powell getting renominated as Fed chair. I think that's incredibly important to the financial markets right now, right? Because the Federal Reserve is basically controlling the market right now. Number 2 is the Fed actually turns more hawkish. You have to stay to find out. Number 3 is global markets crash after basically COVID fears, and also China asking DiDi to delist from the New York Stock Exchange. And number 5 is actually Turkey in crisis. Not that Thanksgiving turkey that you're having, although that is also a crisis that is going up in price like crazy. But yeah, let's get into it, right? So number 1, President Biden announced his intent to nominate Jerome Powell for a second term as chairman of the board, along with Dr. Lael Brainerd. And I think this is very good news for the markets, because basically currently there's a lot of instability, and having a new basically chairman for the Federal Reserve will make everything very messy, right? Especially this Dr. Lael Brainerd was the person that everyone considered that there's a very high chance she will replace Jerome Powell, right? And she's basically even worse than Jerome Powell when it comes to inflation. So all of them are still transitory hoo-ha around the transitory campfire, which is burning down the whole economy. But at least Jerome Powell has acknowledged it, right? Lael Brainerd has basically at times come out and say that, the inflation is nothing. And she has been known to be very flip-floppy, means she's not consistent. She may say something a few months ago and a few months later change her tone, right? So that is very unstable for the financial markets. So the second thing is basically the Federal Reserve turning hawkish, right? So basically the Federal Reserve is going to start tapering. So 15 billion every month they're going to reduce until the end of June or end of July, that they're going to stop buying bonds already, right? But here's the important part, right? I think, I couldn't highlight this for some reason, but the Federal Reserve ongoing purchase and holdings of securities will continue to foster smooth market functioning and accommodative financial conditions, right? But they said somewhere in here, let me just look at this. Okay, basically what they said was it's going to remain accommodative, but they are subject to change their policy if market reactions or whatever it is, inflation runs too hot, which they all mentioned in this long. It's not really that long, it's 5 pages, but yeah, that's what they mentioned, right? So they are turning more hawkish, reducing bond purchases, and also saying that, we are going to adjust policy contrary to the previous, like, oh, inflation is no problem, don't worry about it, your energy prices and your food prices, we don't count those, we don't care about those. So now they're saying, oh, it's starting to be a problem, inflation is above expectations, and we're gonna have to do something about it if our hands are forced, right? So let's talk about the Turkey crisis, because it ties into the Federal Reserve, these two Federal Reserve items really hard, right? Because the Lira has lost nearly 40% of its value since the beginning of the year. Now, I'm not crazy to think that the US dollar will do the same, but because the Lira is obviously not the global reserve, and also its trust and everything is not the same as the US dollar, right? But this is potentially what can happen if your people no longer trust the money, right? And if your people think that, this money is just paper, is fugazi money, right? And we all know that all currencies are based on what value people place on it and what trust people place on it, right? So if your trust and everything is gone, then yeah, it's really not going to help, right? If you're trying to understand what happened here, it's basically the president or dictator of Turkey, whatever they call him there, said that, lowering interest rates is good for inflation. It will bring inflation down. So don't know where he came up with that policy. Even the Federal Reserve is not so stupid to come out and say something like that. But he wants to lower interest rates. He knows that lowering interest rates will jack up the economy, and maybe he's dealing with civil unrest right now, right? So he's trying to make the economy better, but he just made things worse, right? So the next news item is actually, I think maybe we go through these two first, then we take a look at the what, right? So there's a new COVID variant that is causing the market to basically crash, right? We'll take a look at the numbers later, but basically what is this new COVID variant is basically, I don't think you care about what the variant name is, but basically it's a new COVID variant come from South Africa. Apparently it's someone that has AIDS that mutated the thing, and apparently it's more contagious than the Delta. So a lot of apparentlys right now, right? Because there's no really clear information about it, as it was only reported on the 24th of November, right? Today's the 28th, right? So 4 days ago, it was reported to the WHO, and it only broke big news about Friday, right? So about 2 days ago. So yeah, still a lot of information to talk about for this. So some people will think that, if we have this COVID again, no problem, right? Because the Fed's just going to print more money and the stock markets are going to continue to go up. And a lot of people have subscribed to this mentality that the Fed will always save us. But I think at this current point, right, we have to curb that thinking, because first of all, inequality is getting wider and wider. So poor and rich, the gap is getting huge, right? So at some point, it will just snap, and all the poor people, because they are the majority of people, will hate the rich just for the sake of them being rich, right? Because how can you take it when someone is living a life of luxury and you're barely scraping by to eat your next meal? And number two is also that March 2020, when the Fed basically came in and saved the markets, they did not have all this 6.7% headline inflation. So with all this inflation, I don't believe that they can continue to print so recklessly. Can it get past Congress? Will the president want to do it? All those things will have to be factored in, right? And the next item is actually Beijing presses DiDi to delist from the US over data security fears, right? So basically, China doing China things again, crashing the market, saying, we are very, very scared of national security. Basically, DiDi, you delist. So I have a video covering it. It's probably going to be linked on the top right now. So if you're interested to go in detail about all this, you can go and check out that video. So yeah, global assets. Let's start with the US, because that's where everyone cares about, right? So US, Dow down 2.5%. This is on the Friday close. S&P down 2.2%, Nasdaq down 2.2%, global down 2.7%, and oil down 13%. So previously oil was like what, $70, $80 now. Almost $90. Now it's at $70, right? So in Europe, it's even worse. Look at the FTSE 100. This is the London index, down 3.6%. The DAX German index down 15%. So all these other ones, I don't really know. I think stocks, okay, I don't know about all these other ones, but basically these are all the major indexes, right? Down almost close to 5%. It's crazy. So in Asia, I think the Asian markets particularly were more spooked by the DiDi delisting, because they're wondering like what's going to be the repercussion for this, because they're saying that China wants to burn US investors. That's what US investors are saying, and China is just like, oh, security concern. So down 1.5%. Asia Dow, Nikkei 225 Japanese index down 2.5%. Hang Seng, which is the Hong Kong, down 2.67%. Shanghai actually doing the best, right? Down only 0.56%. Sensex down 2.87%, and Singapore down 1.72%. So yeah, those are the numbers, right? Really horrific numbers. You can call this a Black Friday sale, right? So we'll see whether Cyber Monday fares any better for the stock market, right? So for the people that want to buy, they're going yay, but for the people that are holding, like me, they're like But yeah, next is the US, right? They just released 50 billion 50 billion would be a lot, but 50 million barrels of oil will be made available from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, right? So this was actually initially to curb the oil prices, because as you can see, let me pull up the chart here. 1 year. Okay, as you can see, the oil prices in the past year has been going on an absolute tear, right? And currently it's winter, so people expect the prices to continue climbing, because winter, you need to use a lot of oil and gas to heat your homes, right? So they are releasing 50 million. So I don't think this is really that significant news, other than Biden knowing that, you know, his presidency is really getting threatened right now, because his poll ratings are going down the drain, right? Because of how he's handling monetary policy. Inflation is at 6.7%, and they still continue to deny that inflation is a long-lasting thing. So really bad sentiment among the people, among his competency, right? And why I say it's not a big deal, because the US actually produces about 11 million barrels of oil, 11.4 million barrels of oil a day, right? So this is only 5 days of reserves. But after they release this, all the OPEC countries start to have some sort of reactions, right? They start to say, oh, we'll just cut back releasing. And I think this is a huge problem for the US and in general, the countries that consume more than they produce, right? Because they are reliant on another country, and you can see that Saudi Arabia, which leads the OPEC, will come out and say, you do this, no problem, we'll just release 50 million less barrels of oil, which is no problem for that. It's just a drip in the bucket, right? But it's just to say that all the geopolitical things are getting messier and messier, right? Because everyone wants something from each other for nothing, right? The US wants lower oil prices. Of course, Saudi Arabia wants higher oil prices, because their reserves and all are starting to get drawn down, right? And they know that, you know, if we can sell higher price, why would we want to release more and sell at a lower price, unless you can give me something? So that's about all I wanted to share today. Thank you very much for watching till the very end of the video. If you did enjoy the video, do help me smash up the like button just like this. It really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Hit the subscribe button and press the bell button and press all for notifications. And if you did enjoy this video, I think you'll enjoy one of the 3 videos listed at the end screen of this video. With that being said, have a fantastic day ahead and peace out.